Well, here we are, staring into a mirror. Not always the most comfortable of experiences, is it? And I've broken quite a few of these in my time. Oh, wait, don't be rude. I don't mean by looking into them. I mean by dropping the odd mirror here and there. If you get 7 years of bad luck for breaking one, I think I've already smashed a lifetime's work. But no, I've never broken a mirror by looking into it. Sometimes I've been surprised staring into a mirror, wondering what's staring back at me, but never broken one. Well, it's quite easy to think of Christian spirituality as a bit like this, about staring into a mirror or even staring at your navel, if you can see yours, that is. Not sure I can find mine, let alone see it. You know, that Christian spirituality or prayer can be about projection, about imagining things, about making God in your own image, all of that kind of stuff. Well, as we begin to think about prayer before looking at the Lord's Prayer from tomorrow, I was talking yesterday about how prayer isn't so much about praying to God, but praying with Jesus in the very life of God. And the image I want to give you today is how prayer isn't so much about this, but actually is more like this. Prayer is actually about a direct facing towards God, of about gazing onto Him and about Him gazing on us. Now, for some of us, that whole idea of God looking on us will feel quite uncomfortable. As someone who spent most of their childhood and teenage years, and probably time as a young adult as well, feeling uncomfortable at the thought that others were looking at me because of having been bullied and all kinds of words and actions of people that were unhelpful, as well as the stuff deep within me that made me uncomfortable about myself. The thought of being watched or observed was really uncomfortable. But it's not that kind of gazing, of God looking to find fault or to highlight our mistakes or our shortcomings. It's more about that kind of gaze that you experience with someone you're in love with, meeting eye to eye, and sometimes not even needing to use words in order to communicate, of being lost in the mystery of the otherness of the person, of the depth of their existence, of the breadth of their experience, lost in the mystery of encountering another human being. Well, that's a pretty good image of what prayer is like when we engage with God. We face Him and gaze into that eternal reality. Our eyes meet with His eyes, which are always on us. And so prayer is actually about allowing ourselves to be aware of that eternal gaze. It's a mystery. It's unknowable in many senses of the word. And yet, because of all that's been revealed about God in and through Jesus and His Spirit, we're confident that what gazes on us and all that we gaze upon is goodness and love. And in that gaze, all kinds of things are communicated, all kinds of things are evoked. It's not that we're able to shirk responsibility. No, as that gaze of love looks upon us, actually it helps us to accept responsibility. It doesn't diminish our agency. Actually, it gives back to us our agency, our ability to act, to take responsibility, to be responsible for ourselves. We find it all in that gaze of the one who created us and who continues to love us and to shape us into being. So prayer, of course, does involve words, some spoken, some unspoken, as the Spirit of God deep within us groans with things that are sometimes too deep for words. But actually, prayer starts with this. It starts with a simple gazing and making contact with the one who created us. So as we begin to journey through the Lord's Prayer, let's hold those two images of what prayer is all about and allow the Lord's Prayer to become a lens through which we explore those two things in greater depth, of what it means to pray with Jesus in the very life of God, and of what it means to be drawn deeper into encounter with God through that eternal heavenly gaze of love, which changes and transforms us. So keep away from the mirrors and instead spend time gazing upon the one whom created you and the one who loves you, who looks upon you with love in order that you might know that love and in order that that love might change you and through you change the world.